There's three things in life that are unavoidable: pain, change, and uncertainty. And I'm really pumped up that we're going to shake this out today with my buddy Jill McMahon. She's the woman with the funky glasses on the right side of me right now. Hey, Jill.
Hey, friend, you like my Elton John? I'm
I love
channeling
the Elton
Elton John
Johns.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, for those that are watching on YouTube, go check it out. So today, look, I'm really passionate about having hard conversations because I know so many people avoid hard conversations. But today, I want to talk about avoiding the hard conversation, comma, with yourself, because look, this is a tough one, and I know it because I've lived this, right? Where you say to yourself something like, I'll be okay, or I'll deal with it later, or I just got to keep going. And at some point, you likely will be faced off in life with this dilemma where you need to get fucking real with yourself and have a hard conversation with yourself. Now, before I jump into you and your expertise, I want to lay this out really quick. I believe that there are three hard truths to every difficult conversation. Here's the first one. They almost always come with a level of anxiety. They're almost always with people we have to see again. That's number two. And especially as we're talking with ourselves, you're going to wake up with them tomorrow morning again. But the third truth about hard conversations is that some people have absolutely no issues having those hard conversations. And so, what do those people know that others don't? This to me is where we get to dive into Jill's brilliance today. And Jill, I feel like you get to help us understand what those people know who don't avoid the hard conversation. So I'm going to let you riff for a little bit on that. But as a grief counselor, as somebody who's been in your world for a long time, and the author of the fantastic book called Bulletproof, which I'll put the QR code, it's up there in the top right for people that want to pick up a copy of Bulletproof. This is what it looks like. But why do, or what do the people who don't avoid those hard conversations with themselves, what do they know that the others don't?
I think, honestly, that they've come to accept those three things that are unavoidable that you just stated at the beginning of this episode together, Matthew. They have accepted that in life, pain, change, and uncertainty are unavoidable. They're not running from it, right? They know that it is a normal circumstance in life. And I love how you just said so many of us will have that conversation with ourselves and we'll say, like, I got this. It's fine. This isn't nearly as bad as I'm making it seem today. We're not being real with ourselves. And I'm going to say that's because we deem backing away from something, leaving a marriage, leaving a career, stepping away from a childhood friendship as a weakness on our part somehow, as if we couldn't hang in there. Right. And so those people that have an easier time confronting that shift is what I'm going to call it. They know that nothing is supposed to be, most things are not meant to be permanent. And they know that they're still growing, and maybe they're just shedding their skin to move on to the next thing. That's really hard.
It is really difficult. And I don't, did this come up last week in our conversation with you that I just got done doing this kind of art project with a woman? Did we talk
not
about
on air.
this?
We talked about that off air, buddy. We did not talk about it on air.
Okay, yeah. So I just did this art project with somebody, and one of the things I had to write down was a dilemma that I'm struggling with right now, that I'm really kind of facing off with in my personal life. And it is the idea of shedding the skin and stepping into a new character, stepping into a new persona. Like, I was this guy for a really long time. I am still that guy, and I am this new fella who's over here on stages trying to use every ounce of everything I learned to help people have these types of conversations that I'll call high stakes conversations, because they're high stakes conversations. Avoiding these conversations and thinking time is going to fix it. Let me show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like right there. That's what it looks like, friends. You want
Mm.
to avoid the hard conversation and not face off against it. Eventually, it will face off against you, and it will likely happen at a really inconvenient time.
Okay, so I don't want to sound like a therapist here, sir, but I'm gonna for just a second.
Yeah,
You
go.
need to tell me more about that photo. That's my
So,
friend, but I don't know the circumstances. You need to tell me more.
okay, so that is me with a round of what they call shingles.
Mm.
And I got shingles, Jill, after 3 nocturnal panic attacks back to back to back over the course of 2.5 weeks. And it was because I was avoiding a very difficult conversation with myself and a few people around me. I was in a business. I was working on the radio here in Phoenix, doing a morning show, and no part of my being wanted that job anymore.
Yeah.
I did not want to keep working
Yeah.
there. And nothing against anybody that I was with, but like that, every day I woke up and I was like, what am I doing? Like, this does not fill my soul the way that it used to. I need to step into something different. And I'm glad you asked me about this, because I think this is a good challenge for people and good lesson for people to hear today. It's like, I was in the middle of a contract with guaranteed money, likely going to get signed again for the next 10 years. Like, I probably walked away from 1 million plus, and I had to, or I was gonna die. Like, and maybe it's not that dramatic, but it's pretty close.
I love so much that we're talking about this, and I love so much that you just splayed it all out there for us, buddy. And this is not scripted. You and I are just chatting here, right?
Yes.
I got a couple. Can I dive in? I have a couple
Yeah.
comments on what
I
you just
want
shared with
go.
us. So I hear a
It's
couple
your
things
show.
there.
It's called Guns and
Is
Grief
it?
with Joe
Is it that?
McMahon.
I have a couple things there. First of all, I would love everybody to really, really hear me when I say that your body will respond when you do not. And that photo that you just like slapped up here for all of us to see with shingles on one half of your face. Again, for people who are listening, I mean, that's our Mathew Blades with who knows what happening. And so I'm glad I asked. Thank you for explaining. But your body will respond when you do not. So here's the other part of that, of your scenario that you just explained about this wildly successful morning radio DJ host who had 3 nocturnal panic attacks and ended up with shingles and in the ER. Guess what happened, buddy? This is the way I look at it in my 2-minute synopsis. You had a plan. You had scripted a plan. Most of us are just like you, and we've had a plan. Some of us, unfortunately, I'm going to say, have scripted this fairy tale of what our life's plan is going to look like from the time we were 10 years old. We're going to get married. That's part of the plan for some of us, right? We're going to have children. We're not going to have children. That's part of the plan. We're going to be successful. We're going to be a firefighter, or we're going to work in New York. Then I know when I've made it to that spot, I've made it. Now, again, our audience is going to get so sick of hearing me say this. Your brain believes what you tell it. So if you've told yourself for so many years that this is what I need to do to become successful, or this is what success looks like, and this can, as you just said earlier, this can be relationships. It can be a relationship with yourself, honestly,
100%.
but it can be a marriage,
A
right?
career.
Or career. That's what I'm saying. So if you made it, you were there. Well, what I believe started to happen is you were a different person 10 years in or 15 years in than the person that scripted that plan. And so a lot of us are grieving the future. And the future is the future plan that we have created for ourselves in our lives. So when we become unhappy or does not shake out to be exactly the way we thought it would be, or we do not feel completely fulfilled that we have a house that we can call our own, 2 cats, a dog, and a pretty decent job, and we're still miserable, we won't, I take this back. We hesitate to take action though, right? So we're grieving a plan that we created for ourselves when we were younger. However, are you the same guy now, Matthew, that you were 10 years ago?
I hope I'm different than I was yesterday.
There you go. There you go. I can tell you I'm a completely different woman than I was 10 years ago. There have been several catastrophic things that have happened in my life in the last 10 years that have shaped me differently, good, bad, or otherwise. But why would I hold myself responsible to a plan that I created about my life 10 years ago? When I fast forward 10 years, I'm a whole different person. So many of us can really resonate with your story and walking away from a successful career and a contract with a family that was relying on you. I mean, let's just be real and call it out for what it was, because so many of us get that. We're grieving how the story really turned out.
And again, I want people to see and understand that my story is like a metaphor for whatever you're dealing with in life, right? You might be at a job right now, and there's really nothing that wrong with it. The people are decent, but maybe you're just feeling like you were made for more, or maybe you're feeling like there's no room for me to really grow here. Okay, roll. It's okay. Like, you will figure it out. Maybe you're in a relationship right now with and your spouse is, they're awesome. They're not, like, there's nothing totally wrong with them, but the passion isn't there anymore. They're starting to feel more like a roommate than the person you married. Okay, like, I'm not saying roll from that one, but I'm saying have the hard conversation with that one. And maybe you
There
need
you
to
go.
have a hard conversation with work too. I don't always think everybody needs to bail right away. I don't think that should be the first line of attack, is like, okay, let me just hit the eject button. But I didn't, right? And I should note, I really tried to stick with it for probably close to a year, maybe even a year and a half, before I finally hit the eject button. And that eject button came after a series of very difficult conversations, not just with the people around me, but the conversation that I had to have with myself and say, is this the career that fulfills me? Am I in the relationship that I really want to be? Am I really with the person that I want to be? And I'm saying these are good questions for people to ask themselves. And the framework that I always talk about is this whole air check your life. That's why the podcast is called this. It's like, what's working in your life, what's okay but needs a change, and what's the thing that you are doing that is making it impossible to be the version that you want to be. And if you can get serious about those 3 questions, especially as it relates to grief, I feel like that propels you to this new place, because ultimately, you said it earlier, we need to act like snakes sometimes, and we just need to shed the old identity and step into something very different. I do want to point out that we're both wearing olive today. So congratulations. I guess you got the memo that it was Green Day.
We're caterpillars. We're caterpillars, which actually blends right into our theme,
Let's go.
because we need to be more like shapeshifters, right? Everybody's so sick of this analogy, but all of us need to be butterflies, right? Caterpillars that are just morphing into butterflies. And so that paradigm that you just listed, of those 3 questions that you really need to focus on and ask yourself, Matthew, I don't believe that growth or change can come until you sit down and really look inward. So before we end today, I would like you actually to pose those questions again. I'm actually going to write them down, but I don't think that you can create any real change until you have that look inward. And then just remember that shift is a part of life, right? There are 3 things in life that are unavoidable: pain, change, and uncertainty. It doesn't matter how you try to mix that up, how you try to rewrite the poem, rewrite the song. those three things remain true. We are supposed to shift and grow and morph and change. So why are we trying so hard to stay standing still
Because
when the
it's more
world
comfortable.
wants us
It's
to
more
grow?
comfortable,
It
Jill.
is. You're right.
It's
Damn
so much more comfortable to stay here. You know it. The people know you. Like, I jumped into this new world, and a lot of the people around me are like, who is Mathew now? What is
Yeah.
this guy? What does he do? And so look, let's play with Jill. Do you want to talk about career? Is that a good place for you to play the game of air check your
Yeah.
life and your career? You
Absolutely.
want to play?
100%. I'm in
Okay.
it. Let's go.
So, and everybody else can play along too. So 3 questions. So Jill, I'm going to ask you right now, in your
Why am
career,
I
what do you
nervous?
do?
Why am I sweating? What's happening?
Good, because you're getting ready to get excited.
Okay.
What is working? What's going really well right now? What are you doing in your career that you think like I'm killing it in this area?
Being brave and being face forward, and finally, after 25 or 30 years of working, uh, speaking about my passion.
Okay. What's going okay, but it probably needs a tweak if you're going to keep doing it.
Uh, Marketing, um, building connections, getting people to return an email, getting my message out there that I'm so proud to be delivering. It's hard work, man. People just send you, they unread you or send you to trash.
I know. What are you
I know.
doing in your life? And in the way that I always phrase it is, what are you doing that's getting in your own way? So what are you doing that's making it hard for you to be the courageous person out there speaking about your passion?
Yeah.
And I'm going to wonder if it does tie into your second answer.
This is hard to say in front of the 4 people that are going to listen to this.
It's vulnerability, girlfriend, and
It's
I love it.
vulnerability, friend. I would say, what am I not doing well? I never want to be obnoxious or put anybody out. So I am being too kind. I'm maybe being too much of a pleaser. I am avoiding being annoying. I don't know how else to say that.
Still sounds a little fluffy to me. Like it sounds like it's like, what are you doing to get in your own way? Well, I'm just too nice to people and I'm too kind to people. And you know what I mean? It sounds fluffy. Like, what are you really doing that is probably costing you the ability to be courageous and speaking about your passion, which is the thing that you're doing really well right now?
I'm putting others ahead of myself. How's that?
Okay. There
I'm
it is.
allowing others to cut line in front of me to get to that individual that I really want to talk to.
I love that you said this. I started, and I'm just going to share a quick story. So I started this podcast, There Check Your Life, at the very beginning of the year. And the goal was to go live with 5 people every single day and do this YouTube live and just keep it going. And then simultaneously, I was consulting for a doctor and helping him with his content. Simultaneously, I was doing another podcast that you have been on too called Move the Needle. Mm-hmm. And I literally was your answer. I was putting everybody else ahead of me. I was making sure that on Monday I was highlighting Courtney, on or Anna, Tuesday Courtney, Wednesday Dave, Thursday you, Friday I bring in a special guest. I was doing this Move the Needle, and I was and in some ways, I was helping this guy grow this business, which I totally believe in. Like, and this is why I think this conversation is so important. But eventually, I had to get to this place where, because I did this exercise for myself. Like, I want to be clear about that. And my answers are really similar to yours. I mean, what am I getting right now? I do believe I'm out there saying the words that I want to be using. I'm helping people stop avoiding these hard conversations and understanding why they are. But just this last week, and you know this because you and I are friends and you and I have had conversations about that. But I just told the crew yesterday, I'm going to stop doing Move the Needle. I just told this doctor in Lubbock, Texas last week that I can no longer work with him. I just told you, Court, Anna, and Dave, I can't do this podcast every single day. I can do it once, maybe 2 times a week. Okay, here's what's unbelievable about this. no kidding. The moment, like the day that I had the conversations with you guys, I got a speaking lead for an association. The next time I had the conversation with the crew at Move the Needle, the next morning I woke up to an email from another association in Boston that wants to bring me out to speak. And the day I let go of the doctor is the day that I found out I got this unbelievable opportunity to work with this company called visit.org, where I'm going to be traveling for the next 3 months doing leadership events with Amazon and their crew. What am I saying with this story?
Whew.
The moment I decided to make it about me, and I don't mean that in some selfish asshole, collateral damage kind of way, but the moment that I stopped this fluffy, I'm a people pleaser and I'm kind to everybody. And I just said, screw it, man. I love these people. And if these people love me, they're going to continue to be in my life and they're going to sit on the sideline. They're going to cheer for me as hard as I would cheer for them. The moment I did those things, God, the universe, call it what you want, said, finally, you're aligned, brother. So now let me hand you the things that you've been waiting for. And I just wonder if the same thing would be true for you and everybody else that's listening today.
Ooh, buddy. I didn't know half of that, for the record. Like I am downloading this content as you are saying it. Somebody's been sitting on the sidelines and you just created space for all the good stuff that's been waiting back there.
I had to make room.
Now I'm going to have to figure it out once we turn the cameras off. I'm going to have to figure out what that looks like in my life. But because you and I are so similar in many, many ways, that was a very powerful example for me.
I know it can happen, not just for you, but for everybody. But it really does take, as you said today, you got to stop avoiding that hard conversation with yourself.
Agreed.
You need to sit down today and ask yourself those 3 questions and get out of your way.
Remind us of the 3 questions one more time, please.
What am I doing right? What am I getting right that is attracting what I want to me and bringing the things into my life that I want? What is okay, but I probably need to tweak it. Like I need to work on it. And for you, it's marketing, connections, networking, right? So, those are the 3 things that you need. That's the problem. That's your Rubik's Cube right now.
Yeah.
And then what am I doing that's getting in my own way, making it impossible for people to give me the things that I want? And the answer for you and me was we just keep putting everybody else ahead of us. And look, that's going to look different for everybody, but whatever it is for you, I can guarantee it, man, because I'm living it in real time. The moment I got clear on what I needed, the universe was like, yeah, finally, we've been waiting for you. Here you go.
Yep. And
good combo today, Jill. Thank you.
We've also accepted the challenge of being the snake and shedding our skin. I would love to see all of our listeners do that.
I'll show you this right now.
Please.
So this sits on my board. Shed the skin is underneath. On top of it is trust the new you.
Oh, yes. Right there. Right there.
So
may everybody do the same.
Yeah. Good shit. Thanks, Jill. Appreciate you. Bulletproof is the book. It's so freaking good. Hit the QR code and be connected to everything that Jill is doing. And we always have a link to her in our show notes for people that want to check that out. I love you, girl. Thank you so much for being on. And I know we're going to be doing this much more.
I'm excited for everything that's ahead, honestly.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening. Bye.